Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Sound Bites for Immigration Success. But this is a little bit of a different series. This is our third part in our installment of the 20th anniversary of CAPIC. CAPIC has been here for 20 years, and we're recording a series of podcasts with members who have been foundational in the growth of CAPIC and in terms of their role and participation. So I have with me today Donald Igbokwe. Hello, Donald.
Hello, Monica. How are you? Thank you very
I'm
much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, for those who might not know me, my name is Monica O'Brien. I have been a longtime member of CAPIC. I have worked inside actually for 9 years now. It's hard to believe. I look after education and stakeholder engagement, but still retain that membership. But Donald, we're here to sort of learn about you today. So, my first question to you is tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to enter the profession.
Well, thank you very much again, Monica, for having me. As you have introduced me, my name is Donald Igbokwe, and professionally, I transitioned into immigration consulting, not intentionally, but I was a chartered, and still actually, I said, a chartered insurance professional by background. So in that case, transitioning to immigration is natural. But anyway, how it started is through my volunteerism. I was a volunteer helping Sierra Leone Immigrant and Resettlement Center um, sponsor their family members due to the war in Sierra Leone, which was called the Diamond War, in 1990 something to 2000. So this is that through that involvement is eventually what led me to decide to come into immigration as a profession. So, and it's when I transitioned into immigration as a profession that I was looking for something similar to what I had, which is professional association, and that happens to be CAPIC. I would say that it is a blessing that actually that I found CAPIC because it is through CAPIC that then I begin to appreciate the practicality of what I have just studied as immigration diploma, and applying it to my clients and using it to serve my clients. So this is how I got into immigration. It is through volunteerism, and that volunteerism, as you know, I used to say that CAPIC is a family, and in CAPIC, it is for members, by members, and for the benefit of members, right? So it's through volunteer that we actually nurture and support and encourage a family of consultants. So anyway, that's in a nutshell what inspired me and my initial involvement in KP.
Well, it's funny. I've known you for many years, but I didn't actually know that story. So you were volunteering and helping a group of immigrants as they came to Canada, and you saw the need for people who needed assistance and information. So was there one person in particular that you met who encouraged you, or did you sort of just pick up the phone, or tell us a little bit maybe about somebody sort of influenced you in the beginning? I can think of one name in particular.
Well, what it is that actually is not because of the immigration. Right before even I entered Canada, I was involved in social justice. I'm an active as a social justice and a change for social justice. Right from India, I was volunteering while I was in university and all those things. So when I came into Canada, I volunteered for World Aid Conference in Toronto. So a series of then I volunteered for the Durham host program that actually receives new immigrants and adopt them and try to encourage them to integrate into Canadian society. And so during the war, I have some friends who are Sierra Leoneans. As the war was raging, I actually spoke to some of them. I said, why don't you guys get together and form a sponsorship group? Because I read up about immigration and sponsoring people overseas. And one of them was, a group of Canadians being able to create what is called a community sponsorship. So that's how actually they get together and started a board. And I served on that board. And we actually received immigration applications, screened them, helped the family prepare the applications, then the family submits the application to the government of Canada. So that was done. It is all through volunteerism for free. It is after the process was over, much about 2 or 3 years later on, that actually I decided now to say, you know what? I would like to transition from what I used to do, which is insurance. I was an insurance claims specialist, analyst. And from there, I transitioned over to immigration to begin immigration consulting.
Wow. So it was a little bit of a transition, as you said. Very interesting. Although both industries are similar in a way, they're both
Yeah,
both,
yes,
both client facing,
yes,
both helping people. So I really love that story.
yes,
And I like how you talked a little bit about your volunteerism, and because that's been so much a part of you and who you are. So I guess that
exactly.
brings me to my next question. And I guess I should also state that Donald not only is a valued member of CAPIC, but he has served on the board, and he was the chair for 2 years at a very foundational time for CAPIC. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So my next question to you, Donald, is what role has CAPIC played for you in your immigration life as an immigration practitioner?
Well, CAPIC actually gave me what I call the foundation in this case, because after studying immigration diploma program and getting the diploma, I joined CAPIC, and that is after I have written the exam and qualified for the licensing, which is, I joined CAPIC. And this was actually at the foundational stage of CAPIC. So during that period, I would say the stormy years of CSIC and its regulation of KP, of the profession, and the KPIC's major role. And uh, it is when actually you appreciate having colleagues that have the same vision and aspiration as you. And as colleagues, some of those colleagues are actually people who has been in this business before I joined it. So it gave me the opportunity to learn from them the tricks of the trade and the skills and all those things. And also build what I call a family of practitioners, in this case, friends, colleagues, that I'm able to call from time to time when I see a particular issue. I thought, oh, geez, okay, I wonder how I should deal with this. I pick up a phone and call, and that colleague is able to say, this is what my experience tells me about this. This is how I've dealt with it. So what it has done for me is actually, it's like working in a firm without having a firm. You know, law firms, they do have colleagues and all those things. But in consulting profession, we are mostly sole practitioners. So it is through volunteering in CAPIC that I was able to actually gain this access to what I call unlimited resources of members. You, Monica, happen to be one of those. And you know that sometimes we have had discussions on certain type of cases or even HENCs and all those things. These are invaluable, skills, and actually I should call it a privilege, because that privilege is the one that CAPIC offered me by being a member of CAPIC and by being ready to volunteer and network and come in contact with people who didn't then assist me to help me serve my clients. So yes, I may have, served as the longest secretary CAPIC ever had, considering that I served from 2008, 2009 till 2013, and then again in 2015 to 2016, and then eventually having to serve as the chair. But I would say that actually I benefited more than the time I have given to serve CAPIC members, which has been the joy of my life.
Gosh, Donald, such your words sort of really hit home for me because you talk about what a profound, it's almost making me teary, just what a profound privilege it is to work with each other and to
Yes,
serve our members. Because
yes,
at the end of the day, for me, is when you see the light come on in somebody's eyes and they say, I get it, I understand it now. But
Yes.
and it's not only the family, it's not only the education, it's also, and I'm not sure maybe the current generation realizes it as much as that CAPIC has really been the backbone of the profession in 2007, 8, 9, and 10 when we had those challenging years of CSIC, what people used to call the rogue regulator. It was
Mhm.
CAPIC and you
Oh,
know uh,
yes.
uh, uh, dozens of people who worked together to establish a new regulator, uh,
Yes.
so that we could have a profession. And then over the
Yep.
years, you know, with the fruition to the College Act and getting to federal statute, and we're going to talk about it in a second. So, without CAPIC, I'm not sure we would be here in this format that we are today. And that's why a professional association is so fundamental. Not, past the education, past networking, past family, but it's to keep that balance and to fight for us. I don't
Yes.
know. How do you feel about that?
Well, that is totally correct. I can't add even more than that than what you've just said, because to me it was instrumental. And I remember during this formative period, all along, some members have said, Donald, why don't you run for a directorship on the regulatory body? My answer was, I prefer to remain on the association because a strong association is the balance, to ensure that the regulator is, the regulatory authority and the power and the influence is balanced in maintaining, protection of the public as well as service to members who are licensed to serve the public, and also having the ability to interact and network with other stakeholders, for the visibility the immigration consulting profession required. You know, you say without CAPIC, I would say without even members of CAPIC, because it is members of CAPIC who were able to contribute, support CAPIC financially and materially to be there to do all this work. I remember whether it is dealing with CICIC or supporting the ICCRC, and then now to the college. I'm fighting for the college. So without CAPIC, I wonder where we would have been. We wouldn't be here today, as consultants. There were forces that were really against the consulting profession. And yet CAPIC was able to weather all those forces to ensure that there was a birth to the college.
Yeah, and we're still evolving. We're still so
Oh,
young.
yes.
We're still so young. So that brings me then to my next question. For you, I mean, you say you served 5 years as secretary and then came on the board and did your 2 years as chair. For you, what was your biggest challenge and in your position as chair and your biggest win?
Well, I think I thank you for this question, because I will tell you a story. You know, during the time, is one of the privileges again of serving on the board is being able to represent members at various stakeholder meetings, whether it is IRB, CIC used to be called now IRCC, CBSA, and the rest of them. And to represent members at these stakeholder meetings, also you're meeting other professionals, including lawyers who are our friends, and some of them are foes, right? And other non-profit organizations. So at one of such meetings, one of the lawyers actually looked at us at the time. So when you say what was my biggest challenge, it was when we were fighting to get the college. And if those members who will remember that they will see pictures from Ottawa of what used to be called the Three Amigos, or still we call ourselves Three Amigos. Those Three Amigos got damaged, Dory Jed, and myself. So there were doubters that were calling us that we didn't know what we were doing, because we are talking about regulation of consultants by federal statute. Even one lawyer, one famous lawyer says, there is nothing like that. These guys don't know what they're doing. Then at one of the stakeholder meetings, another lawyer said, why are you guys really fighting to get a college? Why are you not satisfied with working with us, under us? I said, what makes you think that consultants would want to work under you? Did you ever ask yourself, these consultants, there are customers seeking them out. Why are those customers seeking them out? He says, well, never mind what you think you're going to do, but this dream of yours will be dashed. You never live to see a college for immigration consultants. I answered, watch me. I like to be the underdog. That answer I gave him, being very confident of the board that I had working with me, the directors, being very proud of our members, the CAPIC members who we are funding the fight. Well, of course, you know how and what the result of that campaign was. That translated in the birth of the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultant, which at the end of my term, when the minister announced that, and after that I stepped down, I said, thank goodness, at least because I live to see the creation of a college that many people think that we were just dreaming about, that we cannot make it happen. Mr. Amlani, Ali Amlani, my brother, always he says, make it happen. So we CAPIC members, we made it happen. Collectively, all of us. And that resulted in a birth of profession. By having that college, I'm very proud of CAPIC as a professional association, very proud of CAPIC members. A lot of them now are still practicing, but a lot have also retired. But Monica, I tell you something, I miss those days. I know that CAPIC have evolved and it is a progress. It's good that it has evolved. But those days we used to gather together and set up the speakers for the conference and all those things. Nothing was like it. I love what happens today, but I cherished what happened then, you know? Those
Oh
were the
gosh,
days.
I've listened just to your recap there with sort of bated breath. And for those who are listening, for maybe those who lived through those times, and maybe for those who are not new, please listen to the words from Donald. It is really from 2005 to 2025 through so many steps where CAPIC has been there, and especially through those years where you you trapezed back and forth to do that lobbying and to do that work, and for you to have those conversations at meetings, and to have to have to explain to other entities why we're doing this. It's so that we can exist, and as we continue to evolve. And I hear what you say about CAPIC too. I mean, of course, we evolve, we grow. I miss those days too of plugging things in. But I know you're coming to the 2025 conference, so I will get you on the ground to plug a few things in. Don't worry, we still.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think I look forward to that because I truly miss it. But I
I
know you staff, you are doing wonderful job, fantastic job, great job that our team actually Dory coordinates. But Monica, I said that you are indispensable in terms of education and the way you actually I see. You don't hear of me, you don't read from me in email forum. But I do check in from time to time and look at the headings and all those things. Um, it's only rarely do I just say a word there, but it doesn't mean that I'm not aware of what goes on. But this is my observation is to watch how our profession is evolving because actually email forum is like a pulse. when you gleam through that, you can see the change. The people, what I call the senior consultants, some of them who are now retired and some approaching retirement, and then see the young ones that are entering the profession. I can say this, that I thank God that CAPIC is there, as a place to try and welcome the new consultants and help to shepherd them through the process. What I mean by process is actually the process of learning to serve, process of what actually the profession is about. Some of us come to the profession thinking they are going to come there to make money. Yes, perhaps they can make money. They will make money, but that's really not the reason. The profession exists as a place to serve the public. Those public who think that they could not get what they are looking for from other public servants, I don't call them competitors. I call them our friends, like lawyers, because there are lawyers that we work with, those that do judicial review and all those things, who value us also as partners, as colleagues. So the public that we serve that prefer to work with us, it's like a trust, and we have to cherish it. When we are working and trying to make money, what we have to bear in mind is their interest, their best interest, never money. Because the moment we put money first, we miss the sight, and that will only lead to destruction. So I appreciate the opportunity that CAPIC has offered to me. Because as I always say, no matter what I have done by way of volunteering for CAPIC, with CAPIC, it has given me more than what I has given to CAPIC and members.
Donald, what's resonated throughout this podcast with you is you've always circled back for the member, the role of the member, the support of the member, the role the member has played, in federal statute and material and finances. And you've always, in fact, I think you coined the term for the member, by the member. So
Yes.
that leads me to my final question. What is your birthday wish for CAPIC? What would be your birthday wish for CAPIC?
Well, my birthday wish for CAPIC is, I would say that we are just starting. CAPIC is just starting, right? I wish CAPIC, at the moment, when I look at membership of CAPIC, Monica, and I say this in all honesty, because the difficult days, our members, they were people of strong faith, big hearts, right? We weren't really too many then. Today, we are too many. Just look at what we are. But it's not close to where I want our CAPIC membership to be, compared to what the membership of our regulatory body is. So my wish to CAPIC is, we are celebrating 20 years of progress and success, overcoming challenges and obstacles. I look forward to CAPIC celebrating, in addition, half a century of success upon success, and professional recognition that it truly deserves as an organization that is in the front for public interest. Because one thing I haven't emphasized enough is actually the role of CAPIC in policy formulation or influencing policy changes, through the lobbies that we do. And that policy changes are in the public interest, not only our members' interest. CAPIC has ensured that there is a fair balance between public's interest and membership interest in policy formulation and in policy lobbying. So that's my wish, a wish where both the public, the government, and then we as professionals are recognized as true professionals, a half a century more of that and beyond is my special wish to CAPIC.
What a wonderful wish of continued celebration, success, growth, recognition. And you know what?
Yes,
Those your wishes almost mirror the original pillars of CAPIC, which are
yes.
information, recognition, education, and lobbying.
Lobbying.
Very, very, very
Yes.
similar. Well, I want to say when I spoke to Ron McKay, his wish was just that we'd be around to see the 50th celebration of CAPIC. So
Well,
let's, you know,
I pray that we will be around to do that. So mine is I wish CAPIC all the success around or not, but I pray that we're around, to see that. It will be wonderful to be able to see that, Monica. And it's good to be able to talk with you and share these tidbits with members. Um, but I will say, one final thing I want to say is that I really want to thank CAPIC staff because as I said, without members, in addition of without members, I will also say God has blessed CAPIC by giving CAPIC the staff that CAPIC have had all these years through thick and thin, who remained, committed, dedicated, irrespective of the number of hours required. They are there thick and thin to see CAPIC through with all this. So I wish to thank them and may God bless them and be with them and their families forever and a day.
well, Donald, of course, I don't speak for CAPIC, but I will speak on behalf of myself and my colleagues whom with whom work, and I will certainly pass your messages. But I guess on that note, I'll do a couple of shout outs. We'll give a shout out for Monica Poon, who's with CAPIC for
Yes,
nearly 20 years. She retired last year,
yes,
but prior to that, she was with OPIC, the precursor to CAPIC. So
yes,
she gave more than half her career to CAPIC and
yes,
was really the stalwart and the backbone for so many
the
years.
backbone.
And we'll give a shout out to Alex Chen, who was with CAPIC for more than 10 years.
Yes.
He was right beside us, plugging in those speakers and
Those
microphones.
speakers and everything, mics and everything. Yes,
Yeah, and a shout out to the rest of the staff, both past and present. And
yes,
Donald, I guess we should also acknowledge the tremendous number of volunteers over the years, past, present,
yes,
and future, who have done so many things from
yes.
writing submissions to
Yep.
volunteering at events to being on committees to serving on boards. It
Setting,
really,
setting up the tables, yes, and the chairs.
yeah, really is a family, it really is a CAPIC
Yes,
family. So, on that note, Donald, I think we will close it out. I want to thank you for your time today, and I also want to thank you for the immense work and contribution that you've given to CAPIC. You've given so much more than your time. You've given your knowledge, your experience, your humility. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to continued interactions as we move forward in the future.
thank you very, very much, Monica. As I said, it's a privilege, and I thank God and thank Epic for giving me the privilege to actually work with our members, the staff, you, Dory, Gerd, Lee, and the rest of them, Phil, and there are a host of members, you
I
know.
know. I
who-
guess yes. And
Yeah,
we should thank, not only our volunteers and staff, but we should
yes,
be thanking our members for
exactly.
for their loyalty, for their
Loyalty and
contribution,
support. Mhm.
their support. And I mean, one of the things I struggle with, I think being a member of the professional association is such a foundational piece of your immigration consultant career. I think it's something that every single immigration consultant should consider. It should be there just
Yes.
just for that voice, just for that
Ye-
support.
Yes, and actually, just to echo your comment, I would truly request and plead to all the new members, all the new consultants, to consider giving a little bit of their time. And I promise them that what they will get in return will far surpass what they put in as a time to volunteer to serve. You know,
Mm.
the network that they will have, the people that they can call and ask for questions, or even what do you call it,
Co-counsel.
counsel, or work together in a file, and all those things. There is a lot of opportunities.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
by considering to give a few hours of their time, they will be harnessing an immense return that they could not imagine.
and not only
Thank
that,
you.
Donald, you'll gain friends for a lifetime,
Exactly.
and it goes
Exactly.
much beyond the immigration sphere. So we'll let it go there. We could keep going. So thank you to you, Donald. Thank you
Thank you very much.
thank you to our audience for listening today. We hope you've enjoyed this conversation with our friend and colleague Donald Igbokwe. We look forward to seeing you at the next 20th anniversary podcast. Take care.
Thank you. Take care now.